T.S. Eliot wrote The Wasteland in 1921 while recovering from exhaustion. The Wasteland is a poem of breakdown. Eliot has psychologically broken down. He lives in a world full of human relationships that are broken down. He's breaking down the rules of poetry and language just in the way he writes his poem. In section 1, The Burial of the Dead, he starts with April is the cruelest month. In a way, it's an homage to Chaucer's The Canterbury Tales. That famous poem also began in April. April was a time associated with the earth coming back to life. For Chaucer, it was the beginning of a great religious journey. For Eliot, the good old days are dead. Even memories are dead and will not restore the happiness that once was. Multiple speakers in this section long to return to the past when life was better. Marie, she was a young child in search of adventure. Now, she's an old woman whose greatest pleasure is reading a book. There's a man so devoid of hope, he seeks out a fortune teller, but the people in her cards will not interact with each other or with him. April renewal and regeneration will not happen. In section 2, A Game of Chess, Eliot starts with a well put together woman in an amazing room. The painting in the room is an allusion to the rape of Philomela in Ovid's Metamorphoses. King Tarius met Philomela, his wife's sister, and instantly fell in love. Tarius took Philomela to the woods and raped her, then cut out her tongue so she couldn't tell. Philomela weaved a great quilt that told her story and showed it to her sister. Enraged, her sister killed Tarius' son, cooked him into a dinner, and fed him to the king. Tarius flew into a rage and pursued the sisters, who transformed into birds and escaped. It's also about the game of chess. Chess is a very impersonal game between two people. They're not allowed to talk to each other while they play. It also reinforces this idea of war. It is a game of war, and it requires sacrifice and loss to win. Eliot is basically saying that life has been reduced to movements on a checkerboard. In section 3, The Fire Sermon, Eliot begins with a female typist. She's trying to live her best life, but she's defeated at every turn. Her life is mechanical and dull. She wants to transcend her reality, but she never can. Her life has become routine. Even sex is dull, boring, and unsatisfying. Eliot's asking, what has mechanization done to humanity? We just used it to destroy the world. Technology has ruined the vibrance and engagement with each other and with the world that we once had. Life is dull and boring because God has deserted us. Or maybe we just replaced him with new technology. God doesn't accept the food sacrifice the woman cooks on the stove. The dinner failure is immediately followed by bad sex. The sex was bad because the man moved too fast. He didn't engage her emotionally before engaging her sexually. We all move too fast. Technology speeds the world up to an unsustainable, blinding pace. The sexual encounter is also a failing of the typist. She had sex with a man who was clearly just using her. She gave up passion for lust. How often do we let lust keep us from reaching the transcendence we desire? In section 4, Death by Water, Eliot shows how death will come for all of us. The war may not have killed us, but society will now slowly dwindle until we all die. April, a life month, is now death. Water, the thing that rejuvenates us, is now death. The drowned sailor takes us back to Madame Sostres' cards. Remember? She drew the drowned sailor card. There's a final warning as this section closes. Gentile or Jew, O you who turn to the wheel and look to windward, consider Phlebas, who was once handsome and tall as you. No matter how old you are, or what religion you affiliate with, you should reevaluate your relationship with death. He is coming for you. In section 5, Eliot talks about what the thunder said and brings it all together in one last morbid scene. The thunder has no rain. Not even the earth can repair itself. Eliot writes, he who was living is now dead. We who were living are now dying. Eliot is clearly referencing the crucifixion. But what if Christ didn't rise from the dead? All hope would be gone. No one would be coming to save us. April, the time of Easter, would be the cruelest month. Eliot closes the poem by warning of the dangers of rebuilding society by blindly accepting Judeo-Christian values as the only way to rebuild the world. It's why your assignment for this poem relies on 3 teachings from the Hindu Upanishads. Values are neither good or bad. They simply reflect the narrative they were constructed under. Morality for all forces us to be ashamed of our differences instead of accepting of them.